Hey, over the years I've made some clocks. Bunch of different clocks. Made a little box clock, and this is one that I've made. We've made about 100 of these overall, and I've also used selling these on Etsy. I'll have the link. There's 2 or 3 left. Make a limited quantity of them. Nice simple little clocks. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make a clock using saw blades. I have saw blades laying around, so I thought I'd show you my take on making a clock, show you how they're made. If you're interested in purchasing one after you've seen this video, I'm going to make a limited number of these. Send me an email with a request, and I'll let you know if I'll be able to make you one. This particular piece is I'm actually going to cut this out as a template. So what I start with is I use the width of the board that I have, and I'm just going to put that on the edge and draw a line so we have a starting point. And for this particular clock, I'm using my 8 1/4 inch blade that I've replaced on my Ryobi PBLTS table saw, 1 inch to the edge. So we're going to line that up. Take my little ruler, bring that over to 1 inch. I want to have a little bit of the wood showing. 1 inch on the side and 1 inch from the top. Take my board again. Doesn't have to be straight because we're going to use the fence on the table saw to actually cut this out. And we'll have that, and then we'll decide on our frame that we're going to put around it. I got my fence set up. We're going to cut out our 2 inch pieces. So we got our template cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out of the actual plywood that I'm actually going to use. Measured around the edges. We're going to cut our pieces, and we're going to cut each piece at 11 1/8. Clockworks will be inside the frame, so you can hang it or you can actually set it. Strips at the back so we don't have to notch it out, to show you the easier way of doing it. So we'll get our 4 pieces cut out, and then we'll put that together. So we have our 4 pieces. We got those cut out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a rough sanding with an orbital sander to get all the saw marks and everything off of that. And then I'm going to take sheet sander and finish that off. And once we have that all together, we'll go ahead. A pin nailer, and we'll nail those together. Get that over to the edge. Frame vise. Check with our framing square, make sure that we're square all the way around. Okay, now we're over to the drill press. I've got my blade that I want to use, and I'm going to drill 2 holes in that. And as you can see, I've got my hole there, hole down there. It's going to be to put our screw through to connect our blade to our backing. we'll go ahead and use our template and cut out our back piece so we can get ready to mount this on, and then we'll decide on what color is staying, dark or light. So our frame is dry, so we're going to go ahead and take off our frame strap. So we've got that all off. Got a lot of sanding to do to finish sand. Some furring strips around, and then that way we'll be able to place our clock piece inside on the actual piece of 1/8 plywood that I'm going to use for this. This is going to be a simpler way of doing it, and we'll put a little bit of glue on these. Wipe down on both sides, get the glue off. So we got those pinned down. Now what we're going to do is I did put some pin nails in the side of the frame to actually help hold it when I was putting it together. So I'm going to countersink those in so we can make sure that when we're sanding we can get a smooth finish without ripping up the sandpaper. The next thing is I've pre-cut my piece. We've made sure that this is going to fit in our frame. A piece of straight scrap, but we're going to find the center, and the way I'm going to find the center is go corner to corner, corner to corner, and we'll drill our hole in the center. There's our center. We're going to drill that out for our clockwork. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually cut this out around so that we can actually put the clockwork in so it won't wobble around. So I've got this clamped down. We're going to drill straight through. All right, so now I've got my clockwork in, but I want to cut this piece out. So what I'm going to do is line that up, and then I'm just going to mark it, cut that piece out, and then that way when we put the clockwork in, it'll sit in there, because some of these clocks are notorious for the actual mechanism moving even after you bolted it in. So we're going to basically countersink that and go. So make sure I cut straight, draw the lines across. So we got our little box. Don't want to cut through my workbench, so I'm going to take a couple of pieces of wood to put it on, and we'll cut this out. So now we're going to take this, we're going to sand down both sides and smooth those all out and get all the pencil marks off. And we'll put the clock together and put the saw blade in, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've got the blade set out. I went ahead and stained the entire frame. So I've got my blade in here, got my holes in my blade. One thing to remember is this is carbide tip. So if you come inside the round, you'll just, when you're drilling these holes out with your metal drill bit, you're inside, so you're on the regular metal, not the carbide tip metal. I've taken these screws here because this blade is black, and I painted the heads black. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. So I've got that all lined up. Got my drill. I'm going to drill into the wood. So I got my screws in. Go ahead and on the back, I'm going to take a lock washer, put that on, put on our nut. We'll get those all tightened up, and then we'll be ready to go from there. And as you can see, I cut the back out here. Now I bought these DIY clock faces on Amazon, and there's two different sizes. It comes with a bunch of different hands, clock hands. And the main thing is, the other reason I cut this out on the back here is you get two sizes of stems. You get a short stem or a long stem, and short stem is too short, to actually fit through. So this actually can fit in there and come through, so there's enough threads left. So we're going to use the short one. It comes with all the pieces that you need. It comes with your nut and your washer. And on the front, because of the size of the hole, I'm putting on a 5/16 washer. Now this is black. You can paint this. I like it. I'm going to keep it silver. Battery pack will go at the bottom. So when you put this in, you're going to slide that in with the battery pack down. See how that fits in there? Come on this side. Take our 5/16, put that over. Take our gold washer, put that on. We take our nut. Don't want to over tighten it. So make sure we're nice and straight. The big thing on this is now you have to decide on the actual clock hands that you're going to use. Purchased a clock and the clock background was black and the hands are black, so you couldn't see them. So that's why I like this kit, because we can find that we've got different colors, black and everything else. Now what I like is this particular one matches the Ryobi, so we're going to go ahead and go with those. Get it all together. Now we got to put our hands of our clock on. I want to make sure that we don't bend them. The way this goes is you're going to put the hour hand on first, then the minute hand, and then the second hand, and push those down. So you want to get them straight. So we're going to put that on. Put our thumbs on both sides. Put our minute hand on. Then we want to move everything up to the top, up to 12. So make sure we have those all pushed on. And you want to check, make sure they're not touching. Second hand snaps in. And you can hear that snap. So we start at 0. All right, so we got our clock together. Last thing we got to do is put the battery in. Make sure we put the positive side. On this, I always push the positive side in first because it makes it easier to get it in. And there's our clock is running. Let's set the time. There's our clock. Last thing we got to do is put a hook on the back, hang it in your house, or you can hang it in your shop. A lot of different clocks. I like making these clocks with the old blades. You can make it with a new blade. You can use any size of blade. That all you have to do is change the dimensions of your actual frame. And I like this one because I'm a Ryobi tool fanatic. So I used my Ryobi PBLTS table saw blade when I replaced that last week. And now I've got a running clock that I'll have in the shop. If you are interested in purchasing any one of these clocks instead of making one, drop me an email. I'm making a limited edition of these 3, and I'll let you know what the cost will be, and we'll ship it off to you. Always remember, dream, think, design, build, and learn. I'll see you in the shop.